To actually reverse engineer exactly how these 5 organizations built such massive, defensible successes, Sophie Krantz developed an incredibly powerful framework known as the 3 calculations. If you want to know if a hard problem can become a defensible market position, any leader absolutely must run these 3 specific tests on their model. You have the crossover point, the choke point map, and the voltage test.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the beauty of the crossover point. It isn't some abstract theory, it's a hard, undeniable mathematical threshold. It is the exact moment when the cost of delivering a structural solution finally drops below the compounding massive cost of maintaining the status quo. Once you hit this point, kind of like living goods proving they can save a life cheaper than the systemic cost of a preventable death, your solution becomes the undeniable, commercially rational choice. It mathematically proves your market viability.
The second calculation you run is the choke point map. When you sit down and map out all the barriers to solving a problem, you have to be completely ruthless about distinguishing between what is a true structural constraint, like actual physics or core infrastructure, and what is merely an inherited legacy gatekeeping function. Exactly like we saw with MCOPA bypassing those traditional credit scores. Identifying those false inherited barriers is what allows a smart founder to completely bypass the old bureaucratic choke points and build a vastly more efficient system.
So the crucial point is the final calculation, the voltage test. This is where you test whether your model actually holds up in the brutal reality of the real world when the initial favorable conditions inevitably disappear. Does this thing survive without the founder micromanaging every detail? Does it survive without endless ongoing grant subsidies or preferential treatment? A true market position has to sustain and compound itself independently through its own underlying architecture and incentive structures, not through ongoing charity.